5. Psychic conspiracy. You describe a psychic conspiracy. Can you explain what that entails and how it plays out in the narrative? There has been a rigid class system in place at least since mankind were tribal nomads, prior to the first agriculture and city-states, and long before the earliest writing. The few, the elder chief and shaman, rule over the many, the remaining younger, hunters and gatherers. This pyramid scheme for a class hierarchy predates the oldest pyramids. It is the oldest confidence trick in the book, the conspiracy called civilization. Although regionally unique cultures appear to have evolved independently during the Bronze Age, from a single global Neolithic era kurgan or burial mound culture, all these earliest societies share the format of a class system. The earliest class systems positioned a single king above a small court of landowning vassals, above a larger soldier class, over a still larger merchant class, and finally a slave or untouchable class at the lowest step. With shattering the singular monarchical rulership and replacing it with a plurality, came idealized universal suffrage, interclass mobility, and an end to mass slave labor. Nowadays, those most clearly trying to rule the world are economically elite globalists who have infiltrated their representatives into many political offices in almost all the nations around the world. The appointees of the World Economic Forum, who largely comprise the current deep state within these various nations' governments, as well as those in other such think tanks, like the IMF, the CFR, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, and the Bohemian Grove, have been both neoconservative and neoliberal as their takeover of the two-party system has progressed, and both are known for their warmongering, due, it is safely assumed, to their predominantly less evolved reptilian or hindbrain mode of thinking. The offices filled by these social engineers are often the highest in the modern conspiracy of civilization, and their consolidation of vast multi-generational wealth aligns their greedy ambitions with those of the earliest kings. This class of allied globalists publicly preach for a cashless society with a social credit score system instead, where the commoner will own nothing and be happy while eating bugs plugged into the metaverse, a corporate-controlled virtual reality online. The fact that these social planners' actual ideas for a better future are still so dull in reality is a result of their forebears poisoning the land, sea, and sky with industrial pollution. Nowadays, the arch villains of this agenda are considerably dumber than the average middle management employee in America in the 1950s. They are, for the most part, merely spokespeople for the transhumanist agenda, and not bright enough to realize its implementation would spell their own certain death. Just like the intelligentsia has always been purged first following a military coup d'etat, those who promote humanity's planned obsolescence and post-humanism are eager to become the first to bodily modify themselves in every way from tribal tattoos to elective surgical sterilization. The traditional nuclear family is no longer trendy in the cyberpunk dystopia these psychic conspirators imagine as the future for the rest of us. So, according to them, all modern institutions will continue to exist and expand, Corporations and banks will grow more monopolistic and governments more militarized, simply because they themselves cannot imagine a better world in which such trends may be abated and the same amount of energy diverted toward actually productive goals. Nevertheless, this is exactly the sort of world imagined by the POD material, one in which these would-be rulers and all the petty tyrants may aspire to compete with one another as philosopher kings in the arena of the Atlantean Senate.